Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. I'm so glad you've joined me today, and I'm so glad that you're traveling with me through Psalm 88 this week. It's a great psalm. It's a psalm of tragedy. It's a psalm of infirmity. It's a psalm of a man who's lost all hope and who's crying out to the God of his strength, a man who's lost all strength. And this week, as we look at this psalm, I know maybe you'll find yourself here because we've all been to this place where we've lost our anchor, we've lost our footing, in a sense, and the events of life and the attacks of the enemy have just overwhelmed us to the point we say, "Oh God, I am a dead man. I have come to the end of myself." So if that's you, I hope you'll continue to join me this week as we read through this psalm. Now I'm going to kind of take a big bite out today, and that's verses 4 through 7. Yesterday we looked at the superscript. We looked at verses 1, 2, and 3. He said there his soul is full of troubles. Now we're going to get a little bit more about that, and that his life had drawn nigh unto the grave, and we're going to hear more about the grave here today too. Verse 4, I am counted with them that go down into the pit, as a man that hath no strength, free among the dead, like the slain, that lie in the grave, whom thou rememberest no more, and they are cut off from thy hand. Thou hast laid me in the lowest pit, in darkness, in the deeps. Thy wrath lieth hard upon me, and thou hast afflicted me with all thy waves. Selah. All right, we come to verse 4 here, and the word that's used for man there in the second half, in the second part of the couplet, he says, I am a man that hath no strength. That particular Hebrew word is meant to express manhood in its prime. This is the man who is strong, who can go out and do his business, who can go out to battle, who can protect the women and the children and the people around him in his family. This is the man who is capable. This particular word expresses that idea. But I want you to notice how wonderfully poetic the use is here, because he says, I am a man who is strong and capable, but not. Look at that. I am as a man that hath no strength. So he's like a man who's strong without his strength. So what is he? Is he still a man? See, that's the question that burdens the heart of this fellow as he writes this psalm. I am counted with those that go down into the pit. So a man without his strength, is he still alive? Is he still living? Can he still be counted on to protect those around him and be a provider and a lover and a father and all the rest? That's the dilemma that, if we want to say Heman, we'll just use that name today. This is the dilemma that Heman finds himself in. I'm a man that goes down to the pit, and the pit, of course, being Sheol here. The grave is mentioned there in verse 3. We have the pit here in verse 4. That's the idea. That's where he's traveling to. But remember, this is, I'm like that person. Free, look at verse 5. Free among the dead, like the slain, that lie in the grave, whom thou rememberest no more. What's he free from? He's free from the troubles. He's free from his lack of strength. He's free from all that mess that's going on around him that's causing him now to cry out to the Lord. Free among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, whom thou rememberest no more. And that's what he feels like. He feels like God has forgotten him. They are cut off from thine hand, because remember, from the hand of the Lord comes all good blessing. Life and health and everything else God gives from his hand. Thou hast laid me in the lowest pit, in the darkness, in the deeps. More description about hell and what the grave looks like. Thy wrath lieth hard upon me. Thou hast afflicted me with all thy waves. That idea of laying it hard upon him, that's the hand of the Lord that's against him. So you hear his distress here. You hear his heartbeat. Maybe it's something like yours today. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.